Hello, everybody. AM 1230 WJOB and 104.7 FM, the voice and face of the region. Also, welcome in on our Facebook and Twitter video. And I'm awful shiny today. What are we going to do about that? I'm reflecting heavily because I'm a white guy with a big forehead. It's like shining a light off of a mirror. And you guys need to do something about that because ain't no more grass gonna grow up on that hill, okay? It's just gonna continue to get balder and balder until it's just gonna look like a East Los Angeles charred piece of earth in the middle of September, and it hasn't rained in 200 days. All right, guys, I'm Jim Diedlow, host of JED in the region, hanging out with you guys. It is Starbucks anti-bias training day, and I've already got a couple of texts I want to hit you with. Jed, please let Harlow and Tony know that Buns Care Charity won't be in studio today as planned, okay? Are you guys hearing me? Buns Care Charity will not be in studio today as planned, today at 4 o'clock. Biggs Trucks destroying Indianapolis Boulevard is another text, thank you. And another person puts in a cuss word, which is just not necessary. But it says, bull blank, Jordan has the rings. I just can't get over this ridiculous debate that was going on all day yesterday.
And more scoring titles.
LeBron James is going to start another show on Thursday, and you better watch it because you don't know when he's. I get the feeling he's one of those guys.
ABC, not TNT.
I thought it was on TNT. No, it's on ABC. Okay, my fault. It's on ABC, and you're going to watch the greatest show on earth for 2018, and if you miss it, you're an idiot because you have this like stupid memory of and just this longing for the Jordan days when you were younger and less chunky and prettier, handsomer, younger, sturdier, and you think somehow holding to the memory of Michael Jordan as the best basketball player ever will rejuvenate your youth. And it ain't going to happen, okay? He was the best basketball player on earth until LeBron James came along. And the same thing will happen when LeBron James gets unseated. But this king right now put on a show on Sunday night for the ages. Oh, I got another one. Jed, please mention that Dave Miller passed away on Monday. Dave was a longtime sports color man on WJOB with Steve Dull and myself. That is Steve Fowler, and I hope to have Fowler on this morning. I don't know what to say about the death of Dave Miller other than he was just a good dude, good region dude. I want to say he was EC-based when he was younger, and nobody loved basketball, high school basketball. Nobody in the region, not Superfan, not anybody around here, not Dave Kuziak, not Jordan Beasley. I mean, I could go on down the line of Eddie Melton over here. We're going to talk about him in a second. I've had plenty of discussion with Eddie Melton about high school basketball. Nobody loved high school basketball more than Dave Miller. And Dave, we'd see him. He was here at WJOB, and over the last 15, 20 years, he's been with Regional Radio Sports. What's that guy's name that owns that, Ryan? Condrey, Phil Condrey. Paul Condrey. Paul Condrey is the Hall of Fame basketball announcer. Dave Miller, dead at the age of 70. I'll get Fowler to call in today. All right, that ought to be enough. Let's take a look at traffic. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Foreman, I-65 are all moving along pretty well. And then let's take a look at the weather. It's not as good as it has been, but I'll tell you what, I'll take it. A high of 80 today, 88 today, mostly sunny, warm, and humid. I love this kind of weather. Tropical rainstorm Alberto comes in tomorrow. We get some good rain. We don't know exactly how much. It's kind of depends on what angle it hits us. It's been bursts in the south. Some areas are getting half an inch. Some areas are getting deluged with several inches. So it's not like a front. It's like a bursting tropical storm that is depressed in some areas and is not depressed in others. By Thursday, partly sunny, a thunderstorm, and a high of 90. And then by Friday, a high of 70, clouds and sun and cooler. By the weekend, you get cooler and pleasant weekend to go with this heat. Verlie Suggs is with me because it's Tuesday. Hey, Verlie, how are you?
Great, Jim. How are you this morning?
Does this bother you that I'm on a wireless mic?
Not at all.
Can you move yours up a little closer to you? There you go. How you been?
What did you bring, like a mosquito in the door with you?
Yeah, I did. That same mosquito
Oh, my goodness.
was all over me outside.
So you brought him, so now he's all over me.
Well, I mean, they're attracted to bad body odor,
Well,
so I
it's
kind of
definitely
brought
not
them in.
me.
It's not you. They're attracted to bad body odor. I brought it in, and then they're attracted to like fruity, perfumey shampoo smells that you got going.
Well, no, I don't wear fruity perfume.
Hey, it's anti-bias training at Starbucks down the street today. What's that mean
That's
exactly?
a great thing. It shouldn't stop you from getting your latte. It doesn't start till 2.
Doesn't start till 2.
So you should be fine when you leave here.
I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I went from this like normal American that mows his own lawn to a guy who stops and gets lattes at whatever. I went to a place in German Village yesterday morning called Stoff's Coffee Shop and got the best latte I ever had in a long time, and just felt great about it. I don't know if I'm losing my edge or whatever when you go from coffee and tea to lattes. Is something happening? I don't know that I'm not aware.
Well, you were supposed to cut back on your caffeine anyway, so latte is a shot of espresso with lots of milk.
Lots of milk. I just love milk.
I love
just
lattes, though.
And Verlie Suggs joins me on Tuesdays, and if you want to join us, you can text us at 219-845-1100, or you could call us. Did you go anywhere?
We had a house full for the weekend, so we had 11 out-of-town guests, and then we had about 40 people over Sunday for a wonderful full day of, just conversation, and it's just great. I mean, from 1 o'clock until the last guest left about 11:30 Friday night.
Wow.
I mean, Sunday night.
Sunday night?
Right,
so
Sunday.
I can just see you, like, running a party. You know what I mean?
We love entertaining.
I mean, you love entertaining.
Yes.
And Mike Suggs is a lot more reserved than Verlie Suggs is. So he gets to intertwine with all of the people, but he doesn't have to put the party on because you do that.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the grill, and then once all the food is grilled, then he can have his cigar, drink his cognac, and mingle with the guests from, they were all over the house and all over outside, and just, it was just a great event because we have so many different people in our lives, and, from all walks of life. And so there's so many great conversations going on. I mean, like, we got people who retired NFL players, retired military, top rank, just all kinds of different walks of life. So the conversations, you go from the living room to the family room to the deck to the patio. I mean, everywhere there's like different conversations going on, and we just soak it in. So it was just newspaper people there. It's just, I love it.
You guys really are a success story of how to meld two families together.
Yeah, we had 6 of our grandkids there. So, of course, they have this new water balloon thing that you fill it up with a hose, and it's like 30 balloons each time you fill it up. So Mike is in the yard with the grandkids, 6 grandkids, and a couple of our cousins' kids, and they're all having a water balloon fight. It was like,
I mean, you don't have to do them one at a time. On the end of the
and you don't
hose.
even
It's
have
a
to
hassle.
tie them. They automatically seal.
Have you guys ever seen this? Has anybody ever seen this thing? No.
It is the newest craze for water balloons. It's amazing. So we had like laundry baskets full of water balloons, and yeah, Mike went from having a cigar. He's out there with a cigar, first of all, with the balloons, and the grandkids are like smashing him in the face and everything, and he gets all into it. So we had a great weekend.
Grandpa Mike?
Papa. Yeah, the kids.
Jeez, I don't know why that makes me smile. If you guys knew this guy. Anyways, I want to see this machine because I love water balloons too. And the problem is you got to sit there at the hose. You got to you put it on the hose, and it's kind of hard to get it right on the hose. And then you don't know how much water to put exactly.
You
and
don't
then
have
you
to
got
worry
to
about
tie
with
it.
this. You don't have to
And then
do
you got to
any
do
of that.
another one. And by the time you're done, somebody's come by and taken your last one and thrown
No,
it at you.
I think the kit, it might have included over 200 balloons. It's like the neatest thing.
She's Verlie Suggs. What I mean, Verlie, is that you and Mike met, what, in your early 50s maybe? And then he had kids, and you had kids, and you guys were able to put it together and make it work, man. That's just it's just kind of like a fairy tale.
Yeah,
in a
it's
way.
truly amazing because, I mean, a lot of people have drama when they mix families. We have been so blessed. We have had no drama. Our kids they all love each other. His kids love me. My kids love him. It's like no drama at all. And we love that.
That is so hard to believe.
Especially for grown kids. Like, there's just no resentment.
Well,
It's just
maybe they're
fantastic.
you guys did it at a. The kids were mostly grown.
Well, no, the two youngest were still in high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
His two youngest.
My youngest and his.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They were like finishing up high school.
Did they both live with you at the time?
No. We by the time we got married, my youngest was in college.
Okay.
Yeah, and his youngest was in Fort Wayne.
Where'd you guys meet again?
Just locally, a close friend of ours, Catherine, who works for North Township, introduced us.
What'd she say? You guys need to
She
meet
just-
each other?
Yeah, in fact, no, she actually wanted to bring him on my TV show, my cable show, as a guest to talk about an energy fair that they were having. And that's how we first met.
Did he start hitting on you right away?
Not
or
at
what
all.
happened?
No, not at all. It wasn't even like that in the beginning.
Did he go, hey, can I get your number or what?
No,
No?
no.
No, I mean,
It's just like, we kind of communicated through emails,
and
but it just
first
developed
date.
from a friendship. First date was asparagus for lunch.
Oh, lunch.
Yeah.
Oh, you wanted to keep it safe.
Well, it was just like a kind of friendship, and it just worked out, and yeah.
How long was the lunch?
He was working, so it was probably about an hour.
So, wasn't one of those things where it like went on to like 2.5 hours and
No.
he owes
No, it's-
NIPSCO 90 minutes.
It's too busy, come on, asparagus people in and out. No, you're not going to linger over lunch. I'm the type that lingers over lunch with people, though, with friends. Like the Genesis Center used to do this really great bistro thing downtown when Rudy Clay was still the mayor, and John Key and his wife Linda were running this bistro. And it was the best food around. It was downtown Gary. And we used to go in there, Natalie and I, because we were WLTH, and we'd go in there and we'd have like 2 and 3 hour lunches because everybody was like coming over to talk. And, they were just so into everything that was going on. And so what did we have but time to kill? Sit around and talk to different people. So, yeah.
She's Verlie Suggs. We're getting back into the shortened week. It's a 4-day week. And it's not always that easy to get back in after Memorial Day. And
Why is that, Jim? I never have a problem getting back into anything.
Oh, I do.
Really?
I'm an irascible getter back into, but not today for some reason.
Well, that's good.
I was just ready. I'm like, I got up at 3 and wrote my blog, and I said, and part of it is, yeah, I think I'm just grateful to be able. I'm always grateful to be able to come down here and talk on the radio for 2-3 hours, and sometimes you feel it more than others. Honestly, I'm like back. I did all this family stuff. Went to Ohio, went to Indianapolis, went to parties, went to concerts, and did all this stuff. And then we're driving back, and I realized, I go, man, I'm just really lucky to be able to drive back and talk on the local radio station. And you just feel it sometimes. You know what I mean?
No, it's a great thing to be able to do. It's a blessing for you and Alexis to own this station and to be able to be your own boss, to say what you want to say, do what you want to do, and connect with people. And that's what you do, and you do it greatly.
Thank you. Hey, one of the things we got to do here is just cover almost every first day of the week, whether it's a Monday or Tuesday, just come up with a story, and this is a tough one. On Wednesday, May 23rd, 2018, at 8:15 p.m., the Munster Police Department was dispatched to Sunnyside Park at 7810 Holman Avenue for an unresponsive 12-year-old male. Officers and Superior Ambulance responded and found the subject in full cardiac arrest. Subject was transported to community hospital, and he was pronounced dead. At the time, it appears the death was accidental and no foul play was involved. And we'll talk a little bit more about it. The young man was well-liked in the Munster community, and I will definitely cover that.
It's very tragic. One thing, though, that I have a bit of a problem. They haven't, I know they just had his services and everything, and they have never mentioned what happened. And that concerns me just because if it's something that by sharing that can prevent the same thing from happening to someone else, then I think they should. And I understand the privacy and understanding how his family, his parents must feel. I know he and his dad, they're so really close. But it's real important that if it can avoid it happening to someone else, that they share what exactly happened.
And according to Lauren Cross in Times, she says 12-year-old Chance Jurgens' latest Lego creation still spread out across his family's kitchen table unfinished. We may sit down and finish it as a family, his father, Richard Jurgens of Munster, said Friday night. Though I'm not sure he would be happy, he didn't like anybody touching his things. A sixth grader at middle school died Wednesday night after an accident at Sunnyside Park. Police and medics were dispatched to the park that night to find an unresponsive Chance in full cardiac arrest. Do you have children? Do you have a younger brother or sister? Hug them, Richard Jurgens said. Like any boy his age, Chance loved car shows, Chevy cars, Nerf guns, and all that. But he was also an incredibly brilliant kid with Asperger syndrome, an attention deficit hyperactivity disorder who loved trivia, books of all kinds, and learning new things. He read novels with such passion, it sounded like a book on tape. My wife worked with him and taught him how to read from the age of 3. He knew all the presidents by age 2.
Asperger's syndrome is just amazing. Some of the children, they're just so brilliant.
Yes, and I had a woman on last week that did a big autism Asperger's thing, or 2 weeks ago. I forgot what it was. They all kind of run together, but we were talking about, the many gifts that the kids have. And we also talked a little bit about sometimes the social challenges, not picking up cues and not understanding. It's just not the normal. I don't even know how to
They used to
explain
say
it.
it more like a higher form of functioning autism, but they kind of separate it a little more now from autism just because of how high functioning they are. It's just a socialization is a big issue for a lot of the children.
I remember what the show was about. I think it was Thursday, and the woman from Gilda Orange.
Oh, yeah, her grandson has autism.
Yes, and
Yes.
Gilda was in here, and they have a program coming out of East Chicago where you get a wristband to say basically, I'm an autistic guy or
That
a
is a
girl.
great thing. I'm so proud of them implementing that. And, her son, Justin, is one of the detectives on the East Chicago Police Department.
Yes.
So I know it's important for him that police officers know how to respond to someone who's suffering from autism or any type of issue that they might react differently when the police, come upon them. So
Yes,
yeah.
Justin, also a big
Right.
basketball.
Plus, her other son has special needs as well. So she has 2 sons, and one, has special needs.
And she talked about his autism and the case in East Chicago when the guy, the cops came and they didn't know the guy was autistic, and it got pretty bad, and that kind of germinated this movement to designate, hey, if you're an emergency responder and you show up and somebody is autistic or Asperger's. I'll give you an example. I had a kid on one of my teams when I coached, and I don't know exactly what it was, but she had uh, learning disabilities and often lashed out and said things. And I don't know if it was a form of Asperger's or autism or a form
Could
of
be Tourette's.
Tourette's or
Yeah.
something. And you accept it, and I could deal with it. And then one the girl had said a couple things to me, and one of the other dads just came up and started yelling at her, saying, you can't talk to a coach like that, and he yelled at me. If I was a coach, I would never let anybody talk to me that way. And I'm like, hey man, just hold on a second. We need to come over here and we need to talk for a second, all right? This is a situation that I know how to handle, and then one of the other dads came up and said, "Hey, man, she's got, there's something else going on here." And the guy felt so bad
He
that
should have.
he should have. But it also, I remember thinking, like, what's the appropriate thing to do? Do you designate that the kid has a special need and somehow make that known, or do you not? I mean, because now you're putting a wristband on somebody, and everywhere they go is going to be this yellow wristband that says, "Hey, I'm an autistic kid." When the parents a lot of times just want them to get into the normal
And
flow
be,
of things.
to mainstream them into society. But
Yeah, so I don't know if
yeah.
I didn't bring that up with
Well, it's
Gilda.
just like a diabetic bracelet or anything that, lets people know that you have seizures. I think it's important that because as much as you try and mainstream a child, there's still special needs that they have, and people should be aware of them.
Yeah, but I don't know, Verlie. I thought about this when I got home, and I'm like, you know, if I had a special needs child, would I want a mark on them or wearing something that designated them as a special needs child? In other words, you're trying to avoid one problem, which is an emergency responders show up and the guy won't respond in a normal way that you're used to. I'm talking to you. Are you listening to me? And well, sometimes they're not. Sometimes, especially in stressful situations, they can almost turn off the interaction. So you think they're being disrespectful when really they're just kind of turning off their nervous system. So I thought about it. I go, man, I don't know if I would want my kid to wear that at least visibly, where someone could see that. Maybe on a chain.
I don't think that from what I understand, most people aren't going to look at this bracelet and know what the significance of it. I think it's mainly to let first responders know and be aware what it is. So if a police officer knows that, say, this purple bracelet is for that, doesn't necessarily mean kids on the playground know it. I mean, I'm wearing this little bracelet, and this is from Maddie, who was one of our listeners, and she gave it to me at Pierogi Fest a few years ago. So it's people don't know the significance of everything.
Kids know, and they're mean. You know what I mean? And that's what
But then they already know that there's a special need as well. They can know when they intermingle with kids if a child is different, and that's part of the reason why some kids bully other kids, because they don't understand why they're different.
I get that. I get that, and I'll just come back to the main thing is that do you want your kid with special needs to have some sort of mark or wear something on it? And that would have to be a question I believe that every parent's going to have to answer for themselves. I'm guessing most of them, for safety reasons, are going to want some sort of a necklace or something on the wrist. But there might be some that are like, hey, you know what? He's going to school or she's going to school, and this is just how it's going to be, and I don't want them, marked in any way.
Right.
Hey, let's talk to Dave from Gary. Dave, what do you think?
You can't. Very interesting conversation, and I like the way you frame that, Jed. But you can't protect all people from all things, and there's just not one mold. You know what? Each of us are unique and different, and it would be nice to frame it in a box to protect everyone, but that's just not realistic. And yes, kids are cruel, but
All right. Well, let me ask you: if you had a child with special needs, would you put the bracelet on him or her?
yes.
Why?
If I felt somewhere down the road when they reached, adolescence and adulthood, that could potentially happen, especially if you can't be, or if they have a caretaker 24/7, I would say I would want some sort of identification for a multiple of reasons. But Asperger's is something. Earlier you hit on it. I mean, most Asperger, kids and young adults are super high functioning. I mean, they are high functioning, and their brains. The problem is their brains don't shut off. They're constantly firing. I knew a kid that had Asperger's and still does. It's manageable. They teach him how to manage it, and it's just the one thing I remember is his eyes just never stopped moving. His brain was going twice as fast as everyone else's. And speaking of children,
I got to ask you, did you have the grandbaby yet?
My daughter is a community right now at 9 centimeters.
Okay. Are you heading over there?
This was not supposed to happen. She was due last Monday, and I had everything planned for last Monday and last week. But unfortunately, the way the world works, I actually have to go to work right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but, I was there when she was born. The doctor handed her to me. The doctor handed my son to me. And I'm okay being the papa. Her husband's right there holding her hand, and her grandma's right there holding her hand. So it's somebody else's turn.
Okay, so
and
you'll just get to go there right after work.
I do have a half. I do have a half a day, and I have to tell you, the delivery and maternity ward at Community Hospital. It's in the new section, the 6-story section. Absolutely beautiful. Oh my gosh, it is just amazing. The room, it's a birthing room, and the staff is just amazing there. I just can't tell you how nice everything is, and hopefully in the next couple hours, Jed, I'll text you with the good news.
All right, man. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Talk to you. Congratulations. Talk to you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Be right back.
Would you go to a doctor that isn't board certified? No, of course not. Then why would you trust in a lawyer that isn't board certified? If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, get someone that's a board certified civil trial specialist by the National Board of Trial Advocacy. Get someone with over 20 years experience who's a member of the Best Lawyers of America and Indiana Super Lawyers and has achieved the highest possible peer review rating of AV by Martindale-Hubbell. Get Gladish. Attorney David Gladish in Highland and his team will deal with the insurance company and its attorneys while you put your life back together. Experience, ratings, and board certification really do matter. Get Gladish. For a free consultation, call 219-838-1900, 838-1900, or visit dgladishlaw.com. That's the letter D, Gladish law.com.
At Corellis Roofing, we recognize that our employees are our biggest asset.
I don't know if I picked roofing or roofing kind of, fell on me. My name is Phil Youngie. I am a project manager here at Corellis Roofing. I came in here as a roofer. Here I am 20 years later, managing million-dollar projects. If you're willing to put the hard work in, willing to do your time, the opportunities are wide open here at Corellis Roofing.
If you're willing to work hard, we have a place for you at Corellis Roofing.
Carpenters Local 599 joins with other Carpenter locals to build the local economy and has been doing so for over 117 years. We are proud to be a member of the Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio Regional Council of Carpenters, which is threefold: training, professionalism, and partnership. We also offer some of the best benefits in the industry. To find out how to become a member of Carpenters Local 599, contact us at 219-942-0518 or log on to ikorcc.com.
Rush Radiosurgery deploys revolutionary technology in the fight against prostate cancer in just 5 outpatient treatments. With radiosurgery treatment for prostate cancer, there is no pain, no surgery, and you can go back to your normal activities right after treatment. Prostate cancer does not fight fair, and neither should you. For more information, contact Rush Radiosurgery at 312-942-4600 or visit us at rushradiosurgery.com.
No case is typical. Results will vary by patient, and there's no guarantee other patients will experience these results.
635 in the Calumet region. Taking a look at traffic, 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks pretty good also. And the Bishop Ford's lighter than normal. So is the Dan Ryan Skyway Toll Road. Looked pretty good. I-65 US 30 Claim Avenue. I mean, you got a little trouble at the merge going in from the Bishop Ford to the Dan Ryan, but certainly lighter than most days, put it that way. certainly lighter than last week. We had a couple really bad ones. And traffic brought to you by Traffic is brought to you by Ryan. Who's the traffic sponsor on this one? Napleton River Oaks Honda still is the sponsor on this one. Napleton River Oaks Honda is on Torrance Avenue in Lansing, right across the state line. And here it is. They give me these notes. I don't remember anything. Right across the state line. Really good people. And if you're looking for a car, that's where you start. Let's take a look at weather. This one is brought to you by our good friends at Ironworkers Local 395, who sponsor me standing out on Indianapolis Boulevard every morning. And a high of 88, mostly sunny, warm, and humid. Right now it's 66 degrees here at the Strachan Van Til Studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest. And then tomorrow gets a high in the upper 70s. That Tropical Storm Alberto is going to drop some water on us, and rightfully so. Alexis and I put some major flowers in last weekend. The daughter watered them over the weekend, and nephew watered them over the weekend, and everybody was watering them for us as we took a little trip, and they still got a little bit wilted. We could use a good rainstorm. That should be tomorrow. Then by Thursday, partly sunny, even a thunderstorm hanging around on Thursday. But by Friday, cooler, mostly sunny. Same thing on Saturday, high in around 70, 72, something like that. And the markets are down a little bit right now. Something to do with Italy. I'm not really sure exactly why Italy would have that big of an effect on markets, but the Dow is down $1.80 right now. Should open up about 24,600. Will Hatzel is here from Ball State University, and he is a broadcasting guy down there, and he's here for the summer. Well, what do we got going in sports? I got to find your right microphone. All right, keep talking, will you?
All right.
There you
we
go. I
go.
got
Perfect.
you. Sorry about that.
No worries. Okay, well, sports updates are brought to you by Johnny's Tap. Over the weekend in baseball, in the 4A Chesterton sectional, Chesterton beat Valparaiso 7-0. Chesterton's Austin Peterson pitched 6 scoreless innings. In the 4A Munster sectional, Lake Central defeated Highland 7-3. Lake Central's Jake Dykstra had 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and 2 runs. In the 3A Kankakee Valley sectional, Andrain shut out Twin Lakes 10-0. Andrain's Nick Fushi had 2 doubles, 3 RBIs, and a run. In the 3A Griffith sectional, Griffith cruised past Clark 11-0. Griffith's Johnny Maynard threw a complete game, allowing only 1 hit. In the 2A Whiting sectional, Bishop Knoll edged Whiting 3-2. Bishop Knoll's Ryan Bradkey threw a complete game, allowing 5 hits, 1 walk, 1 earned run, and 7 strikeouts. In softball, in the 4A Crown Point sectional, Lake Central defeated Crown Point 4-2. In the 4A Maryville sectional, Chesterton defeated Valparaiso 6-2. In the 3A Griffith sectional, Highland took care of Hanover Central 6-1. And in the 2A Whiting sectional, Andrain dominated Whiting 11-1. And in the pro sports, the Cubs shut out the Pirates 7-0. Mike Montgomery was on the mound in place of the injured Yu Darvish. The White Sox lost to the Indians 9-6. Rookie Matt Skoll homered in his rookie debut. In the NBA Western Conference Finals, the Warriors beat the Rockets 101-92. The Rockets missed 27 threes in that game, and this sets up a 4th straight year of the Cavs and the Warriors meeting up in the NBA Finals. And in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, the Golden Knights beat the Washington Capitals 6-4. Vegas scored 3 goals in the third period to take Game 1.
No surprise there. Vegas up on that one. But the real story over the weekend was LeBron James, and I could not be happier. I have been a huge LeBron James fan ever since he came out at a Cavs game, 15 years ago from high school. Got a standing ovation. And you know what? I turned on him a little bit when he went to Miami and made the way he went. He got a little too show busy. But just kind of forgot about him, didn't necessarily hate him. And now he's back where he should be in Cleveland, and that gets going in 2 days. That'll be on Thursday night on ABC. And all of you folks who are diehard Michael Jordan was the best basketball player ever to play the game, you're losers, and you don't know basketball because LeBron James is just shown exactly. I mean, I've said this for years ago. 8 years ago, he was the best basketball player on the planet ever. And still people hold to this thing. I don't get it. It's just if people hold to their youth and great memories of watching Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and so forth. The main reason is that Michael Jordan had a much better supporting cast. And for whatever reason, LeBron James has just not had that. And I don't know if it's almost by design. You don't want too many superstars around him because you want him to win the big games. Whatever it is, this debate that's going on to me, is a ridiculous debate. It's not even close. As a matter of fact, you could make the argument that even Kobe Bryant unseated Michael Jordan, and perhaps he did. But certainly LeBron James, for a long time, Michael Jordan, best basketball player ever. Then Kobe came along, debatable. Certainly LeBron James. But there are certain people that are like, they're almost, honestly, it's almost like a heavy Trump supporter that won't hear anything negative about Donald Trump ever. Can't say it. Doesn't matter what. And Trump was right. He could go shoot someone down on Madison Avenue, and some people will be like, don't worry about it. It's just Donald Trump. Well, the same thing kind of goes for Michael Jordan. Doesn't matter how good the next guy that comes along that is, they're still going to say he was better when he's not. Anyways, Will, what's your thought on this?
Well, to be honest, I think LeBron has had some pretty strong supporting casts, though, too. I mean, look at what the Cavs did this year. Not saying they were wrong to do it, but, how many times have they overturned that roster? And he had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love these last couple of years. This year, I'll give him a lot of credit because, he's doing it by himself.
Green? They won the game. He was throwing the ball in the corner to a guy named Green.
Yeah, Jeff Green.
Jeff Green. I'm like, my brother who lives in Ohio now is a huge Cavs fan. I'm like, Jeff, he's throwing a ball to a guy named Green, and they're still winning. And this is why. I mean, my brother is a Cavs fan, but he still thinks Michael Jordan is the guy. And I'm like, really? What's wrong with you, man? I thought you were sane. And I'm like, and he kept throwing it to him in the third quarter. And Jeff Green kept hitting them. Jeff Green will be forgotten. He was like Cliff Livingston for the Bulls. He was just there to hit a few spots. That's all. But he's a big part of that team. Who else? Name some other guys from the Cavs that are good players, other than Kevin Love.
Kyle Korver's okay. I mean, he's just your shooter.
The Bulls got rid of him.
Which I wish they never did, but
all right.
That's
Korver and Green and
J.R. Smith. I mean, I agree with you. Like, this year, he has put the entire team on his back. But before Kyrie Irving left, I think you saw this year just how much Kyrie Irving did mean to that team and why so many people think now that, maybe LeBron and that organization needed to give love or Kyrie Irving a little bit more love because he was crucial to that team. And yeah, they had George Hill, too. They went through so many point guards this year. They thought Derrick Rose was going to do something. Dwayne Wade. They tried to get, like, some 2011 Dream Team going that didn't really work, and that's why they ended up going and making all those trades. And the one thing about Jeff Green, though, it's easy to point fun at him, and especially that he started over Kevin Love because he had to because he was out. But, I think in 2012 he had a heart condition. So, for him to kind of bounce back from that and
heart surgery.
Yeah, so no one thought he was going to play again.
It is a big deal. I give you that. We'll talk sports later. Thank you so much, Will. I got a text here. Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double every game. Well, that's true. But Oscar Robertson didn't get the kind of media coverage. I would give you Oscar Robertson as a top 5. Anyways, Verlie Suggs.
You brought up Cliff Livingston. You know he lives in Michigan City, right?
I did not know that.
Yeah. He does a lot of benefits, golf tournaments and things to raise money. So, yeah, Cliff is right there in Michigan City.
Really? What's he do?
Well, he and his girlfriend, they have horses. And like I said, he does a lot of philanthropic things.
Ramon, tell me you're sane, and you're going to tell me LeBron James is the best basketball player.
Oh, no. The refs cheat for LeBron. You got to watch it. Michael Jordan, actually the greatest basketball player is Bill Russell, if you get down to the nitty-gritty. 11 championships. Now, somebody duplicate that.
And the thing about it, LeBron, you never saw Michael Jordan whine on the court like you see LeBron.
Right.
And
you know what? Only reason LeBron, my cousin live in Akron, and he took my cousin's girlfriend, so I don't like him. Hey, but Jed, you know why I called? I've been listening all the time. I just took a sabbatical, you call it. But what it is, maybe one day come in the studio and then we get the guy that played Michael Jackson, Black or White, me, you, and Verlie, all us sing it, you know, and with all your staff, you know.
I'll do that.
Right.
I don't sing very well, but I'll do that.
None of us sing. Verlie might could sing because of her voice, ain't it?
I really can't sing.
Well, that's good. See, can't none of us sing, so we can even do We Are the World.
I can sing that.
Yeah. Everybody who can't sing always winds up singing We Are the World.
Right. It'll come out good, you know. When you get in front of camera and the music plays, it'll come out.
All right,
go ahead.
Let me stop you for a second because you got me all turned around. I thought you were a decent basketball fan to come out and say,
yeah, I am.
Yeah, but LeBron, I want to go back to this. LeBron James is 6'9". He is very headstrong. He has the best offensive skills. Other than maybe, I'll give you guys that had a little bit better offensive skills. Bill Russell, Larry Bird, Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Kobe Bryant. But none of these guys had the full package that LeBron James does. And it just bugs me that people won't give him his due like you.
Hey, you got to look at it, Jim. Actually, look at the game and watch the refs. The refs, this thing is rigged, man. Golden State, my team, I'm telling you that now. But this thing is rigged. If you watch how LeBron play, it is rigged. I'm telling you.
That's what everyone says. I mean, I was at my husband's friend's house yesterday. There was 3 guys and me. And these guys, none of them like LeBron. They were talking about LeBron.
Right.
I mean, the game was on at my house Sunday night. I didn't even watch it. But they cannot stand LeBron.
Right. Can LeBron truly, in the heyday, you think if Barkley was sticking LeBron, you think he'd do what he do? Ain't no way. No way.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do right now after the show today. I'm going to join the LeBron James fan club. I'm serious. I want to get literature and backup and talk to people that have sanity in their lives. Because
the best player is going to be Kevin Durant. Watch. I guarantee you. He's going to eat that guy up. Watch. Like he did last year. He's going to eat him up.
KD had a great game last night, man. And I was watching it, and I was talking to my my daughter's boyfriend. I go, man, here's what's happening. Kevin Durant is a man possessed because he saw that everybody's.
Hey, tell your father, come on.
Who you with?
My grandson. I got to take my grandson to school. I'll tell him my son, come on. I got a couple of yards to cut.
How old's your son? How old's your grandson?
He's 8.
He's 8 years old?
Yeah.
Well, tell him we said hello, huh?
All right, next time, tomorrow I'm going to get him on the phone so you can talk to him.
Hey, before you do that, when you call me tomorrow, I want to know who the best basketball player ever in the Calumet region was.
Oh, I can tell you that already.
Who?
Dang. Rich Valavich.
Stop, will you? Glenn Robinson.
Oh, man, can nobody guard that guy? I'm telling you. You got to go back and look at the clips. Dre Morris could be second, but I would have to give it to Valavicius, though.
Glenn Robinson. The first Glenn. Glenn Robinson 2. GR2.
Well, maybe you're right. But Valavicius got to be second.
Valavicius isn't even in the top 10.
Who you listening to? What Sports Life?
Talk to you. You call me back tomorrow. You get the kid there. 219-845-1100. I'm sorry, Verlie, to veer it off into sports. But I was so angered yesterday. And then I was at a family gathering in Indianapolis last night, and all of my cousins' kids and all them, and they're all like anti-LeBron. And I'm like, where is
with everyone who is anti-LeBron?
What is going on?
They just don't like his demeanor on the court. Yeah, he's a great player, and he might be greater than Michael. I mean, it doesn't matter. Michael was Michael, and that was decades ago, and LeBron is LeBron, and this is the now. So there can always be somebody better. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not even worth comparison because the game is different. The game, these guys become bigger and stronger, and it's just a whole different game. It's different mentalities from the different generations and how they play. So he is the greatest now. Michael was the greatest then, and someone else will be the greatest 20 years from now.
No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. It's just way too. What's that? Hey, how are you? What are you doing, Dan?
Hello?
How you been?
Good. How about you guys?
Good morning, Dan.
How was your recent
I-
trip?
It was spectacular. Other than jet lag, I have no idea what day or time it is now, but it was spectacular.
Where'd you
Yeah.
go?
We went to Italy. We went
Oh,
to
nice.
Venice, Florence, and Rome.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. I've been to all three and more.
Eight-
So yeah, I love
you know,
it there.
It's crazy. It was an 8-day, 6-night trip. We
Oh my
lost the day
goodness.
Going there. We left Friday afternoon, and we got there Saturday afternoon. You know, with the layovers and the time change, and then we left on Friday morning and got home Friday evening.
Wow.
It's
Did you
crazy.
even get time to go to the Vatican?
We went to the Vatican. They let me in. I can't believe it.
Oh,
But they let me in,
fantastic.
you know, and everything is still standing. It's incredible. It's incredible
Yes.
to see all those things in person, all these structures that were built thousands of years
I
ago.
know. Did you
hundreds
get
of
to the
years ago.
Sistine Chapel?
Yes, we did.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is
It
amazing.
is.
Great food. I enjoyed the food in northern part of Italy better than Rome. I thought the
Mhm.
food in Rome was not very good at all.
Right.
It's just a big hectic city. But anyway, here's
Wonderful.
my little bit. Here's my bit on LeBron and Michael comparison. Michael was charismatic and LeBron is not. That's why people choose Michael over LeBron.
Because of personality too,
Your
all that.
personality,
Yeah.
charm. You know, when we think about any press conference Michael did or commercial, always had a beautiful suit on, smile lit up the room, said all the right things, charming. Second to none in that category, and that's the deciding factor.
Jim, my sister and Michael Jordan used to date in college.
Really?
Yeah.
Your sister and Michael Jordan? Your sister
Yeah.
went to North Carolina?
No, she went to St. John's University, and they met. And Michael Jordan would come by my parents' house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. In
Was
fact, I think he missed the game at the Madison Square Garden because he missed curfew. But yeah,
So was he genuine?
yeah, my family loved him. Yes.
I think you're onto something, Dan. But in judging basketball talent, what in the hell does personality have to do with it?
Well, that's the deciding factor. People don't
Yeah.
like Verlie was saying, his on-court antics is a strike against him, and that's the tipping point. This is purely my opinion. That's the tipping point why people don't like him.
You know, I've always liked guys that were aggressive. Remember when the Bulls and the Pistons used to go at it all the time, and everybody
yeah.
hated Bill Laimbeer and John Starks, and it's and then
Everybody
Starks
hated
was
Peter.
on the Knicks, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and those kind of players, Laimbeer and Starks, I loved watching when the Bulls would play them guys because they wanted to win and they would do anything to win. And that's LeBron James. And that was Michael Jordan, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. Here's another comparison I always think of. 6 different times Michael Jordan played in the last game of the NBA season, and he was 6-0. He's never lost the last game of the season.
So he was in 6
LeBron
finals.
lost in the finals.
So
Yeah,
he's
Michael's
been in
never
6
lost in the
finals, and LeBron is now in his 8th finals. So
Right, and
last time I
LeBron is
checked, 8 is more than 6.
3, but he's 3-4 in the finals. He's got 4 losses in the finals. Michael's perfect in the finals.
All right, whatever, dude. I'm not going to convince you, and you're not going to convince me.
No, but like Verlie said also, it's too hard to compare players from different eras. Otherwise, you'd have to say Will Chamberlain was the best because he averaged 50 points a game for 1 year. I mean, and never fouled out of a game. Averaged 48 and a half minutes in a game. Averaged 30 points for his career. And could have done a lot more. He was afraid to hurt people, they said.
You
He
know
was so
what?
much
You're
bigger and
right. I
stronger than
loved
everybody.
watching Wilt Chamberlain play.
Yeah, I was a huge Will Chamberlain fan.
But if you're going to go with personalities, remember when he said he had sex with 10,000 women?
Can I tell you?
You better be clean. There's kids going to school right now.
Did he actually keep count? Okay, this is 999.
In 1997, when they had the NBA All-Star game, when They honored the 50 greatest basketball players of all time, and Wilt was there with Dick Schaap and George Mikan and a couple other people. And Wilt's book had just came out like a year before that. And it said he slept with 20,000 women. And Dick Schaap looked at the five of them standing there. Wow, between the five of us, we slept with over 20,000 women. And Wilt Chamberlain looked at him and he said, "Hey, Dick, that book is a year old."
I missed that part.
Said that number's a year old. All right, man. Thank you. Let's keep it clean. I'll talk to you.
See you guys.
Yeah, there you go. Let's go to Tom. Tom, how you been, by the way?
Good. How about you?
Good. What's up?
Just wanted to weigh in, but I'm going to keep this clean, just into the spillover from the previous one. That count, maybe that includes in their dreams also.
Yeah, if you break down 10,000 women, it wasn't
Who's
physically.
actually counting? Give me a break. I don't believe that.
Oh God. But getting back to the basketball grades, me in my humble opinion, and I know Jed, you're in the basketball. I played. I go down line items and I check boxes off, and I'm not going to go into detail, but Michael Jordan, hands down. But like you and Verlie had said earlier, yes, it's a different era, different personalities, and all that. You throw it in. Hands down, it's Michael Jordan. But that being said, LeBron's playing like it was said at a different point in time, but his statistics are such because basically he's the only person on the team. Basically, look at it's easier for him to run those points up, and Jordan played with a team that was a team, top to bottom.
I agree with that analysis of it, and that's what makes it. I mean, they're going into a finals right now where you've got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, KD. Those three guys are all Hall of Famers, okay? And on the other side, you've got one Hall of Famer, okay?
Absolutely.
So you got 3-on-1. I mean, Kevin Love's supposed to come back, and George Hill's okay for Cleveland. But if you're going to win an NBA championship with George Hill or Kevin Love, you better have God on your side. And there he is, the king, man. And this is going to be a 1-on-3 cataclysmic collision going on, starts on Thursday, because this is the last one. The other teams are getting better, and these teams aren't going to meet next year. This is the last one.
Absolutely. Can I say one more other thing that I don't think that in my own humble opinion again, I don't think I would ever see Michael Jordan shop himself and go behind the scenes and try and build his own team and go from city to city like LeBron did. And I think there's a lot of backlash right there because, fans get embedded and there's loyalty.
All right, I got that part for you. The other part about it is that people don't realize it, but pro sports is a legalized monopoly that the owners are able to basically set the rules and get in the middle of free enterprise.
Well, isn't that happening with the NFL right now?
Yeah.
But I digress. You saw what happened at Yankee Stadium over the weekend. Giuliani celebrated his birthday, and he got booed.
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
I love my New Yorkers.
Well, let's keep going. Verlie Suggs is here. It's the first day back. And we got plenty of stuff here on the table that we need to talk about.
But you have a couple of callers waiting, and Big Rich has been waiting a while.
Hey, Rig, how are you?
Good morning, Verlie. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jen,
Good morning.
Did you just get back from Wampum this morning? I can't even watch, LeBron. All he does is he'll either go up to the line and he'll bully somebody in, or he'll back up and he'll back him up. 24 seconds of dribbling and then shooting. That's not basketball. It's crazy. With a guy with a 260-pound frame, it's just like you dominating Mad Mac when you guys play basketball. There's no comparison. It's Jordan all the way. And that was a cool story, Verlie, about, having Jordan over to your parents' house. Too bad it didn't work out for your sister, but
I know. We just didn't know his potential at that time.
Anyway, I'll give you a quick traffic. Traffic is just Skyway to the Meg Ryan down to, I'm just passing guaranteed freight field, and it was a pretty easy ride in. I heard that the Bishop 4 was backed up, so I didn't want to sit in traffic today.
All right. Can I follow back up on this? All right.
Sure.
Steve Carlton's on the mound, and it's a 2-2 count in the ninth inning, and Dave Kingman's up to bat. All right? And there's two just all-stars. Dave Kingman make the Hall of Fame? I don't know if he did or not. All right? Lou Brock's up there. All right? Lou Brock's up to bat, okay? And they're going at it, Steve Carlton and Lou Brock. Mano a mano. 2-2 in the ninth with the man on second. Cardinals down by 1. It's one man against one man, right? How different is that when LeBron James gets a ball at the top of the key and people move to the left and the right, and he's got a guy on him that has to guard a mano a mano. It's a beautiful thing when the one-on-one LeBron James goes. This isn't Hoosiers. We're not watching Mile High in 1954. You got superior athletes that can go one-on-one, and the defender wins sometimes. And it's a mystery and a drama who's going to win that one-on-one matchup. And then if he drives the wrong direction, the other teammates come and help him out. It's an unfolding story every time down the court. How is that not basketball?
That is a terrible analogy, Jed. Baseball, you have one guy facing another guy pitching to him. They're not backing up into each other. And you either throw him a ball in the dirt or something that he can't hit, or you throw it right down the middle and then let your defense play. That is a terrible analogy.
No. Let me tell you something. When LeBron James matches up, and I imagine KD's going to guard him some of the time. LeBron James comes down, and Kevin Durant's guarding him out near the top of the three-point line. I will watch that every time. That is a colossal matchup, a historic matchup that is basketball at its finest. You didn't. All right, it's a bad analogy. You didn't tell me how that's not basketball.
Well, I'm going to watch the finals only because I will be rooting for Golden State. I was hoping that Houston would win, but once Chris Paul got hurt, that was over with. But I'm telling you, the over-under on Draymond Green's technicals is going to be 4, and there's going to be some good shoving matches, and that's the only reason I'm watching this time.
All right, I disagree with you entirely on so many things. This is a finals of all finals. I wouldn't say of all finals, but it's definitely something to watch here starting on Thursday night. We'll come back, Mad Mac, after this.
Here in Indiana, the Trump tax cuts are already working. Hoosier businesses are hiring, raising wages, and giving employee bonuses. In Washington, Senator Joe Donnelly said this:
if they bring a good tax bill before me that helps middle-class families, count me in every time.
Listen to President Trump on Senator Donnelly.
Joe Donnelly voted no on tax cuts, and he voted no on canceling job-killing regulations, which may be even more important than those incredible tax cuts.
Donnelly voted no on tax reform, even though the average Indiana middle-class family will receive a tax cut of more than $2,000. It's time for Senator Donnelly to change course. Call Joe Donnelly at 202-224-4814. Tell him the Trump tax cuts are working and to vote yes on S-2687 to make our tax reforms permanent. Paid for by One Nation, www.onenationamerica.org.
Hey everybody, I'm Jim Delo.
And I'm Lane Paradis.
We do a podcast about Grateful Dead music. It's called
This is Dead Air.
And you can find it at
thisisdeadair.com.
And on our Facebook page at This Is Dead Air. Check us out.
Deadheads.
Come out to Napleton's River Oaks Honda during the Honda Memorial Day sales event and save big on all new 2018 Hondas in stock, including Civics, Accords, CR-Vs, and Pilots. This weekend only, the first 25 customers get a free smartwatch with a test drive. Come find out why you always get our best deal at River Oaks Honda. As always, Indiana residents pay Indiana sales tax right off 8094 on Torrance Avenue or online at riveroakshonda.com.
Second to none since 1931.
Must be 18 years or older with valid driver's license. Limit 1 per household. No purchase necessary while supplies last.
Jedi's Garden Family Restaurant, located at the corner of Klein and Ridge, is Griffith's locally owned family restaurant with a down-home feel and made-from-scratch favorites you will love. Open daily from 5 a.m. to midnight, Jedi's has you covered with breakfast omelets, salads, stir-fry, seafood, and steak sandwiches. In addition to our award-winning lemon rice soup, 4 additional soups are served daily. Along with our recently expanded spirits menu, Mondays are half-price margaritas, and Wednesdays are $1 off domestics. Mention WJOB for 20% off your order. We'll see you at Jedi's at the corner of Klein and Ridge.
I want to be like the pretty people on my TV.
Now you can.
All I need are gleaming white teeth.
We can help you.
Can you find the right dentist for me?
Dr. Andy Coulteritis, he does cosmetic dental.
Will he hurt me?
No, he's gentle.
I'm terrified of pain.
He's the kindest in the land.
He sounds great. Could you repeat his name?
Dr. Andy Coulteritis, 219-836-1111.
Thanks.
707 in the Calumet region. I'm Jim Dietlow, host of JED in the region, hanging out with you guys. Let's take a look at traffic around the city. 294 looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. The Bishop Ford is good, but on the Dan Ryan and right before the Bishop Ford has a recent accident right before the merge, and that is not showing up. That just came in on our line here, 219-845-1100. You can either call or text to that line. And but right now I have it moving okay, and just a little bit lighter than normal. Ryan, is this Ryan? Who'd this come from? The accident on the Dan Ryan right before the merge. Okay, somebody called that in. They're beating the news sources. Skyway and the toll road and Borman I-65. Those are all moving along pretty well. Hey, it's the first day back after Memorial Day. Summer gets going. It's just a good time to be in the region right now, and it's not a bad time to be driving around, and we'll keep an eye on it. But right now, I can't tell you not to go up the Bishop Ford because it is moving, and at least according to the computers. I'll follow this one. How's that sound? And what do you have in terms of the sponsorship there? That's brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda, proudly serving Northwest Indiana with superior customer service. Let's take a look at what's going on the weather. Kind of up and down this week. We get another hot day today, mostly sunny, warm and humid. Beautiful day, actually. And it gets a high of about 90. I think yesterday was in the mid-90s, so a little bit cooler. And then tomorrow, a high of 79. Tropical rainstorm Alberto is going to hit around here, and we could get some spotty, heavy rain tomorrow. Thunderstorm hanging around on Thursday, warms up again about 90, but mostly partly sunny on Thursday. Same thing on Friday and Saturday. Should see a decent amount of sun and be quite a bit cooler, 30 degrees cooler on Friday and Saturday with highs around 70. And weather brought to you by our good friends at Laborers Local 41, of which I am very much a proud alum of that fine union. Verlie Suggs is with me here, and we've been talking about Michael Jordan and LeBron James, but we are going to hit try to hit some of the local stuff here in just a little bit. Let's talk to Mad Mac on Local 599 phone line. Mad Mac, how are you?
Good. What up, James? What up, Verlie?
Good morning, Mad Mac.
Hey, Verlie, are you driving a different car now? A maroon-colored car?
No, I'm still driving the same color car I've been driving for.
The white one?
Yes. So how do you know what color car I drive? You stalking me?
Okay. Is there a law against that?
Against stalking? Is there a law against stalking?
Yeah, I was 50 feet away. What's up?
Man, Mac, you even made me laugh. I'm not sure that was possible.
That's because it's called humor, Jimmy. You might want to try it one morning. Anyway, first of all, was LeBron James ever got called for charging? Of course not. Okay? Did Michael Jordan ever get, accosted in the lane by 4 different white guys from Detroit Pistons while he went for an attempted layup and literally almost ended up in traction every half he ever played? Of course he did. It's a whole different ball game. It's just a different world now. Okay,
but outside of that and the physicality that is brought up a lot, Who would you rather have on your team if you had to pick one person, LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
Oh, if it was under today's rules, Michael Jordan would score 80 points a game. Okay, because they'd never be allowed to touch him. Like you can't. All you can do is put your forearm in LeBron's back. At the same time, he's gonna hit you with his left elbow or his right. He's gonna make space like he's going for the Heisman pose. I mean, just ridiculous. I'll take Jordan any day, though, without a doubt.
All right. Well, I thought you knew your stuff, but I was incorrect.
That's why I'm a conservative and you're not. So anyway, let's get down to important business here. So I go to the Indy 500 this last weekend. Hadn't been there in a while, but I got there like 3 hours in advance for some parties and all that good stuff. They must have spent 55 minutes honoring the soldiers of our country. A 30-car parade and announced 30 individual soldiers from the state of Indiana. Single parade right across the bricks. 30 separate vehicles, one for each person. They play taps. They have a flyover from the military. They sing God Bless America. They had a general on over the PA in virtual silence, nobody moving. The guy must have thanked God 15 different times. Thank God Almighty for our soldiers, for our safety, for a good day, for the health of the drivers, et cetera, et cetera. And then when they played the Star Spangled Banner, out of 350,000 people, nobody took a knee. Everybody stopped what they were doing. It's the most wonderful part of the Indy 500, honoring the military of our country. It was amazing. But now I'll go on to something that you and particularly Verlie is involved with. Can I ask you a question? If I'm working for a campaign person or if I'm working for a politician and I keep calling in and saying, you know what, Joe Smith's running for alderman. He's the greatest guy in the world. Aren't I supposed to tell you I'm getting paid to make that phone call?
You should.
You should, okay. Well, you need to get a hold. Oh, you don't need to get a hold of that campaign finance report because I just sent it to both of you, and I know you got it on your phone already. Because how is it Dave from Crestwood or Dave from Bellevue or Dave from Gary, whatever it is, how is it he's paid $1,000 from Oscar Martinez, and he calls in talking about Oscar all the time? It sounds like he's a paid political operative, and yet he makes these calls like he's just some kind of guy putting a lawn sign, on his front lawn. I don't understand.
Well, I think you're jumping the gun. You're jumping the gun here. Dave from Gary.
So.
No, hold on a second. Dave from Gary has several times mentioned that he is working for the campaign of Oscar Martinez. I mean, he's revealed that. I don't know. He said he's part of the campaign. I don't know what. I don't think he's getting paid to make these phone calls.
Oh, he is getting paid.
He can get paid.
$1,000.
He can get paid, but if they're paid phone calls, that's a different story. But you can get paid for something and still make phone calls. Put it this way. All right, put it this way. Since whether I don't know if he is or not, you say he is, but let's just say he is getting paid.
I don't say he is. Oscar's campaign finance support does.
So if somebody works for a campaign and they are getting paid to provide some sort of service, whatever it might be, does that mean they can't call somewhere? I mean, are you going to restrict their free speech?
I would think they could call their mom or dad. I think when they're making calls on the public airwaves.
Well, he's said he's several times he's put himself out there as a supporter of Oscar Martinez. So where is there an attempt to hide that?
Well, I think there's a difference between being a supporter of him, of a candidate, and being a paid political operative.
Well, I mean,
and not
you're looking for something that you don't know is true. That there's a contract that says you call WJOB and I'm going to pay you. Okay, that's a different thing.
I didn't say that.
Okay, then it doesn't matter.
If
he's a paid, no, there's all sorts of people that are paid. I mean, people call in and say, "Hey, it's great to eat at McDonald's," and they work for McDonald's. Okay, they're getting paid by McDonald's. Do they have to go fill out a form and stuff to make a phone call to a radio station? If we get to that part, just Katie bar the door, we're done.
All right. Well, I'm just making sure. Because
I mean, you don't like Oscar Martinez, or you don't like Dave?
I don't like dishonesty.
Well, what is it you don't like about Dave?
Well, like I said, he comes off as some kind of volunteer. You know, like with Mike Repay, he's making all these small. Oh, Repay, he's a great guy. Blah 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 blah. Well, next thing you know, you look at that campaign finance report, and he's listed as receiving like $500 and some odd dollars. He's getting, it's not, and it's definitely not reimbursement.
Have you ever received any money from a campaign or a political organization?
Not a single half penny, not compensated for anything, not a nickel.
Okay, so all right, that's what I thought. So hold on a second. So you're allowed to call a radio station and make a comment, but Dave's not, because he's, or anybody, let's not use Dave, anybody who is getting paid is not allowed to do that, or a business. So in other words, if you're getting paid in any form from any organization, you can't call up a radio station and show your support for that radio station? Even if you say you're their support, you're like, hey, I'm a supporter of this guy.
Well, I thought you had to at least say that before you did something. That's all.
Well, I mean, I think that's the spirit, you know. And I know that there are very stickler.
I could be wrong on that too. So I don't know.
I think you know, if you buy time and you have a spot that plays, you have to say, hey, this is paid for by this committee. Or if you buy a show, you have to say that the show is paid for. But
yeah, and I would have thought, in the spirit of things, and for transparency's sake, so we all know who we're dealing with here. You know.
No, I've made it very clear every time he calls in that he's a big supporter of Oscar Martinez. The thing is that there's two issues here. Is that, are you violating the spirit of disclosure? And to me, that is the important part. And, you know, sometimes I make those decisions for people.
Jesus.
And that's how it is. And then
that's
the second thing is,
to make me ruling on stalking Verlie, those decisions too.
All right. Thank you for the call. So the second part is, every time this
fell
comes
out of my seat.
Why?
When he said he doesn't like dishonesty. Because I've heard him say so many things over the air that were not true. And were so embellished. And
oh, is that what you were laughing about?
Yes.
Over here? I was
mean,
what
you
are you doing?
Seen
You're being
Ryan.
spasmodic.
They were all
Spasmodic
dying
Verlie.
inside the producer's booth. It's like, what? You gotta be kidding. So now, man, I gotta worry about my tires being slashed.
No, he's just stalking you. That's all. He's not doing anything.
50 feet away.
Here's the
Order of protection. How many feet away do they have to be?
I don't know. An OOP, an OOP. All right, let's take some more phone calls. You know what? That was about to get me ranting about all of these regulations I got to deal with that Mark Zuckerberg doesn't have to deal with any of them.
Oh, gosh. Here we go again.
So we need to move on before I start ranting.
Most definitely, because you don't hear Mark Zuckerberg ranting, nor do you hear him telling the same stories 20 times 20.
Nobody ever cares that radio is overregulated and perhaps Facebook is underregulated, and that is the competitive advantage for
okay,
social
so you're
media
doing
sites.
radio, and radio has a lot more advantages because guess what? Everybody driving down the road in their car can actually tune into you. They don't necessarily have to be on their phone looking at Facebook. So radio's been around a lot longer and will be around a lot longer afterwards. So they're two different things. Just face it and deal with it. And let's talk about the fact that the winner of the Indy 500's name was Will Power. Did anybody think about that? Imagine the winner's name is Will Power. His willpower helped him to win. I mean, that's a neat name. It's like going to the Kentucky Derby and these wonderful names that these horses have.
That is a pretty good name.
Yeah, Will Power. And then also they found a dead body also. They found a dead person after the Indy 500 in one of the tents out in one of the lots.
Yeah, it's too hot or what?
I don't know. They don't know if it was foul play or not.
Yikes. 219-845-1100. Also found a body here in the region we'll get to in a second.
Yes.
All right. What are we talking about? All right, let's talk about a couple of other things here locally.
So do we have a caller on the line or we just don't have a name?
So let's talk here. Regina Biddings Morrow is retiring from, or not retiring, she is leaving her position basically at second in command over here at Purdue Northwest. Regina grows up in the region, goes to Purdue Cal.
Grew up in East Chicago.
East
Let's get it
Chicago.
straight. Right
I
in
think
Calumet.
She went to Bishop Knoll.
Yes.
And then went to Purdue Cal and studied under Y. Gene Chambers. And Regina and I worked here together at WJOB in the mid-'80s. As a matter of fact, the very first talk show I ever did in 1985, Regina Biddings Morrow, which was Regina D. Biddings then, was the producer. She was Ryan Walsh on that first day. And we joke about that a lot, but we've known each other and have grown close over the years. And there is no better person for leadership, local person coming out in leadership in the academic community than Regina Biddings Morrow, and she took a job at Cal Lutheran in right outside of LA somewhere. I can't remember where it's at, but I have been there because I played baseball there for Occidental College. We went to California Lutheran, and it's smaller, but it is very upper crusty and a lot of money and just kind of old buildings, and it's California. And she's obviously going to make some, take some bank by going out there. And we will have her on the air in the next few days to talk about this because this is a big move for her, and it's a big move for Purdue.
Well, one thing about Regina, her only daughter, Anita, who's a graduate of Andrean High School and of Harvard University, is out there living in San Francisco in that area, in the Bay Area. So Regina, her husband, Mundo, a retired East Chicago firefighter, have an empty nest. They live in Maryville, and I guess she wants a change.
Every time I see her.
And she's a member of my church. I'm going to miss her.
You're going to miss that? Does she sing?
She doesn't sing, but she's so involved. And I just love Regina. We've been friends many, many years.
She doesn't sing?
She doesn't sing in the choir, but she sings in her pew.
Okay. And then, every time I see her, she's always talking about her daughter and missing her daughter and not seeing her. So you can understand wanting to get a little bit closer. She said to me, this is how little she understands of California. She goes, Jed, it's only an hour away. I go, what do you mean it's an hour away? I went to school in both L.A. and in Berkeley. They're a long way away. They ain't an hour. Oh, yeah, it's an hour flight. Yeah.
Right.
Once the flight leaves and gets in the air and lands, that's an hour. You got 2 hours on the front side, and then flying into either San Francisco or Oakland, there's a lot of delays. You're talking 5 hours from your door to her door easily, which is about how long it takes to drive. And I've done it both ways.
But not from the airport to San Francisco, to downtown San Francisco. It's like 15, 20 minutes.
Yes, but the whole thing, and she didn't quite get, I'm going to be flying. No, it's not 1 hour, man. Add up all the time that it takes. But congratulations to Regina. I don't think
Regina.
She was vice chancellor in charge of institutional advancement and has been a big driver behind getting some major donations to the university. She will certainly be missed, and I don't think there's been an announcement on who the replacement is, although there may be shortly. How does that sound?
Right.
Hey, locally here, the Times is reporting that a big crash on the toll road involved a doctor who is Porter Healthcare System, Ashay Kaparkar, a 41-year-old guy, was apparently on his way home from the hospital just after midnight on Sunday night into Monday morning when, for unknown reasons, his 2018 Infiniti left the road, traveled into the center median, struck about 30 feet of guardrail. Our hearts are heavy as we work through this news, said the CEO of Porter Health. Dr. Kaparkar was a highly regarded urologist and a valued member of the Porter medical staff. He was traveling westbound on the toll road, so coming back about 2 miles west of Indiana 49 when the crash occurred. Collision with the guardrail caused the car to nosedive into the grassy median where it came to rest facing eastbound. He was found unresponsive at the scene. So very sad.
Very sad because these doctors, they have to put in so many hours. He's probably so tired, and who knows if he fell asleep or what, and just
Yeah, it's after
might have
midnight.
overcorrected or what have you.
And according to Dan Carden of the Times, the Northwest Indiana State Senator has been selected to participate in a leadership training and policy evaluation program sponsored by the Council of State Governance. It's Eddie Melton, one of 3 Hoosier lawmakers who will travel to Minneapolis this summer to attend the Bohe Institute for Legislative Leadership. He'll learn analyzing the economy, trade, transportation, other public policy issues. 38 lawmakers from 11 Midwest states and Canada are the people that go to this. It was launched in 1995 to help legislators manage the increasing policy demands put on by state government. Eddie Melton, what's his future?
I am so proud of Eddie Melton. His campaign was launched right in my home. So we are like Eddie's biggest fans and supporters, and we just know he's going to go far. And there are a lot of big plans in his future, which I will not share, but I know he will go far just because of who he is and how he works with people.
All right, say no comment, will you?
Okay.
Say it.
No comment.
All right, because that's exactly what you're going to say when I ask you this question. Is he going to take on Pete Visclosky?
No comment. But no comment. No.
Yeah, no comment there.
Right. I don't think that's no comment. No comment.
Will anybody take on Pete Visclosky?
Oh, yeah, more than likely, yes. I think that they're definitely, yeah. Probably the guy who's the mayor here might take him on. But
I got a feeling there. So let's see. It's not this year. It's next year, right?
For Pete?
Yeah.
Pete just got it. He just went through election. He has his
Yes. Is
general
anybody
election
ever
in
going to
November.
take him on?
People took him on this year. He had 3 challengers this year. He'll have his normal
Any heavyweights?
Republican challengers. No heavyweight. I don't know. Pete is well liked, regardless to this little campaign that's going on against him and Donnelly right now. He would have to do something seriously bad for people not to support him. I mean, he's a senior legislator. He is able to bring it home for the steel workers and the unions. I just don't see people leaving his side and leaving him to support someone else who is unproven, regardless to what city they might be the mayor of, because who else is going to run up against him?
We've got a pretty good race coming up this summer in the Senate race. And Mike Braun had Donald Trump come to Elkhart and tout him very heavily. And there is you can already hear a spot here that we're playing of some of the money that's pouring into Indiana already. I don't know what's the name of this?
Well, they're doing the same campaign against Pete Visclosky. They're going against
One Nation.
One Nation. They're going against Donnelly. And that's the same thing they did with Holcomb and Gregg when they came in at the 7th inning and started putting all this money in the race. So it's going to be tough for Donnelly, but one thing about Donnelly, there are Democrats who don't like some of the things he does when he goes and votes with the Republicans. But I think he does what he has to do, and I think he's a fair person. He's like Senator Lugar, where he's able to vote based on what the issue is and not necessarily along the party lines. And so I think that Donnelly, he's got the farmers that like him. He's got the urban communities that like him. I'm hopeful for him. I would hate to see Ron win, but that's just how I feel. I think Donnelly is a good choice.
This could be a barometer for how far does the Trumpism go into the country. I mean, this is going to...
Another Republican just decided he's not going to run again, and he admitted he's an alcoholic. So there are people who are right now in the Congress who aren't going to be on that ticket. And so it's going to be really interesting in November to see if, it shifts a little.
She's Verlie Suggs. I'm Jim Dealer. We'll be right back.
The Emerald Green at Lost Mars Restaurant is now under new management. Delicious food, beautiful ambiance, and a full bar with a 12-tower draft system featuring craft beers from the region, including 3 Floyds and 18th Street Brewery. Our spacious premier banquet facility is the perfect place to host your private event. We are open to the public 7 days a week, serving lunch and dinner. Open at 11 a.m. The Emerald Green at Lost Mars Restaurant is located at 1001 129th Street in Hammond. Call 219-228-2526 or see our website, emeraldgreen@lostmarsh.com.
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Indiana high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Eduardo's Natural Pizza in Munster has built a reputation for serving the finest Chicago-style stuffed pizza, loaded with fresh and natural ingredients. Not interested in stuffed pizza? Eduardo's has the best thin crust pizza, appetizers, salads, pastas, and more. Pick up a half-baked pizza from Eduardo's to take home and bake at your convenience. It's the perfect solution for those hectic nights. Eduardo's is located at 7920 Calumet Avenue in Munster. Dine in or carry out by calling 836-2010.
Now, up to the tap, Mr. Fun! Johnny's Tap, now serving a variety of local beers, including 3 Floyds, Byway Brewing, New Overfalls, and Zorn.
That's it. I'm listening to the voice in my head. I'm thirsty, and I want to watch baseball. I'm heading to Johnny's Tap at 8050 Calumet Avenue in Munster. They have 12 beers on tap to choose from.
Johnny's Tap, the home of Mr. Fun since 1956. New ownership and now smoke-free. Join us for Mix It Monday, Taco and Tequila Tuesday, Whiskey Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, and Fireball Friday. Johnny's Tap.
Ogren Insurance has been serving the area since 1947 and provides insurance for life, home, auto, business, and more. If you're looking for one-on-one service, the best rates, knowledge, and experience, Ogren Insurance is your agency. Our number one goal is to provide you with the coverage you need at the most competitive price. To learn about the insurance solutions and services we offer in Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan, call 219-933-0076 or see our website, OgrenInsurance.com. Ogren Insurance, 6929 Holman Avenue in Hammond. Accidents happen. Be protected with Ogren Insurance.
Hello again, everybody. This is Harry, and you're listening to WJOB AM 1230 and 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana. Holy cow.
These sports updates are brought to you by Johnny's Tap, and I'm William Hatzel. Over the weekend, baseball in the 4A Chesterton sectional, Chesterton beat Valparaiso 7-0. Chesterton's Austin Peterson pitched 6 scoreless innings. In the 4A Munster sectional, Lake Central defeated Highland 7-3. Lake Central's Jake Dykstra had 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and 2 runs. In the 3A Kankakee Valley sectional, Andrain shut out the Twin Lakes 10-0. Andrain's Nick Fushi had 2 doubles, 3 RBIs, and a run. In the 3A Griffith sectional, Griffith Cruz passed Clark 11-0. Griffith's Johnny Maynard threw a complete game, only allowing 1 hit. In the 2A Whiting sectional, Bishop Knoll edged Whiting 3-2. Bishop Knoll's Ryan Bradkey threw a complete game, allowing 5 hits, 1 walk, 1 earned run, and 7 strikeouts. In softball, in the 4A Crown Point sectional championship, Lake Central beat Crown Point 4-2. In the 4A Maryville sectional, Chesterton defeated Valparaiso 6-2. In the 3A Griffith sectional, Highland took care of Hanover Central 6-1. In the 2A Whiting sectional, Andrain dominated Whiting 11-1. And in pros, the Cubs shut out the Pirates 7-0. Mike Montgomery was on the mound, starting in place of the injured Yu Darvish. The White Sox lost to the Indians 9-6. Rookie Matt Skoll homered in his rookie debut. In the NBA Western Conference Finals, the Warriors beat the Rockets 101-92. And in the Stanley Cup Final Game 1, the Golden Knights beat the Washington Capitals after Vegas scored 3 goals in the third period to take Game 1.
He is Will Hatzel. Will, thank you so much. Turn that mic off, will you, please? Hey, let's take a look at traffic. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks pretty good. Bishop Ford, a little bit tight at the merge. We had a report of an accident earlier that, if it happens right at the merge, if you guys know the merge, they put this, you know where the Jay's potato chip plant was, where they used to take those big trucks and they turn them upside down and it looked like they were going to topple over onto the Bishop Ford. But right in that area, they put this like accident place, like huge, like a football field, big, right off to the right side. And it has really helped things at the merge because there's a lot of accidents, a lot of smaller accidents because people are going a little bit less speed through there. A lot of dents and stuff. You get them off to the side over there. So hopefully that's what happened in this accident and got off to the side. But a little bit lighter than normal on the Bishop Ford going into the Dan Ryan. But the Dan Ryan itself is kind of heavy all the way up. So, and whether you hit it with the Skyway or not, once you get there, about 47th on in, it's pretty heavy. And on the Indiana side, things are moving well all the way around. Toll Road, Borman, I-65, US 30, Klein Avenue. A little bit heavy, both directions through the Indianapolis corridor right there by Webb Ford on the big bridge where they've cut out the middle section and are still working on that. I was told that goes to November, so that could be a long, hot summer. Break for the iron workers up there. There's a lot of iron being laid right now. And we talked about that on Friday, and I had a couple iron workers tell me, hey, man, thanks for saying that, especially in that area right there. Just slow down a little bit. There's, iron workers with families on the top of that hill there, and you just want to give them a little bit of a break. She is Verlie Suggs, and I'm Jim Deedlow, and that means it's Tuesday. We're going to end at 8, and then Ryan Walsh and Jimmy Mulaney are going to take over. And that's just how it is. Ryan asked me if I wanted to go longer. And here's how I look at it, Verlie, from doing this for so long. Keep to your schedule. Does that make sense? And that, even though sometimes I want to go longer or whatever, you finish when you're supposed to finish because that's what people get used to. And then, that's just how it is. And
Okay.
plus I want to eat breakfast.
Of course. And you want to get to Starbucks before 2.
I do.
Right. I want to share a little quick story about Starbucks because, my husband deals a lot with that, bias training and all that, the diversity inclusion. That's not all he does, for those of you who think that's what he does and he keeps people out of jobs because of affirmative action and what have you. He's actually the director of integration and strategy, and does a lot of things for NIPSCO. But someone wrote a letter, and what they said was, I'm not going to read all of it, and I'm not going to say the person's name, but he said that my husband had stressed that it was to be his journey when he was teaching one of these classes about unconscious bias, both as a business advantage for the company and as an opportunity for personal growth through awareness about people being yourself. He said his message was simply to be yourself, and the expectation is that within the company and eventually within our communities, acceptance will be the standard. He said, so I became myself, and this is a white guy. He said, I grew my hair long, reminiscent of the Bjorn Borg days, way before Andre Agassi. He said, in doing so unintentionally, he subjected himself to reactions from people ranging from humorous to even flattering, unconscious bias to deliberate insults to me, to my dismay. Now, I'm going to skip part of it. He said, my appearance is involuntary, not unlike someone with tattoos or a beard or someone who wears unique or untraditional clothing. Any unconscious bias that I encountered is relatively insignificant and rarely offensive. He said, however, imagine if my appearance were not of my own choosing. I'd suggest, since I cannot really know what the same comments or gestures I casually encountered would never be humorous, always be insulting, and never acceptable. So if a person received unconscious bias because he grew his hair long, imagine a person who is always black, or always Hispanic, or always a woman, or always a senior, a person who can't change their appearance or change who they are, but people treat them differently because of who they are. That's what Starbucks is all about today. It's teaching their employees about unconscious bias and how not to treat people differently because they look different from who you are or how you think people should be. And I think it's very important. A lot of people are smirking about it or upset because they can't get their latte at 2:30 this afternoon. I don't mean you. I'm just saying period. But the point is that they'll make a better company and we'll make a better world if we get beyond this and beyond this negative rhetoric and this name calling and the insulting terms that you talked about this morning on your JED in the, is it JED in the world or whatever you call that little
JED in
morning
America.
JED in America. You know, using terminology or buzzing people in and not buzzing people in because they don't look like the people behind the buzzer. So,
You know, there's a couple of things. First of all, it is Starbucks Day to close down at 2 o'clock today to have an anti-bias training. And if you saw the video in the Philadelphia Starbucks coffee shop, it's harrowing. Basically just arresting two guys because they were black and sitting there not buying anything. And there was insensitivity at a very high level there. As far as Starbucks, though, today I don't trust it. It's a PR move in response. It's crisis communications at its finest. And I think it's a PR move in response to something just so that they can continue to make money at great high levels. And to integrate that with something that is very meaningful is a little bit dangerous when you take a cause and you use it as a healing factor to your image. And I think that we need to give that needs to be in the context of it. The second issue, though, of bias, you know, I agree with you entirely, the unconscious bias. And I just wonder how we reach, if it's unconscious, you have to get into the unconscious to unlock it and fix it. I don't know how you do that.
There's a lot of ways to do it, and one of the ways is what Starbucks is doing. I don't know, have you ever heard of the privilege walk? Where you line everybody up, and then you start talking about, like, take a step forward if your parents had a college education, or if you have you take steps forward for every advantage you have, and then you look behind you at the people who had none of those advantages and how far back they are, as you've unconsciously had opportunities that other people may not have had. And so, or there are other trainings where they'll have you look at different people. Like you might look at the white father who's a drug addict versus the unemployed black woman with 4 or 5 kids, or the gay guy, and you say, which one would you choose? So there are a lot of unconscious things, and there's a lot of ways to train people to just, you might not make a person not be prejudiced, but you can make people aware. And that's what it's called, being woke. Well, this training that Starbucks is going to do is going to be to make people aware, because they didn't have to do this to save themselves PR wise. I mean, they apologized. They gave the guys whatever they chose to give them and whatever they chose to accept. And they changed their bathroom rules, and they could have been done with that. To me, this is one step further. It wouldn't have made a difference whether or not I stopped at Starbucks to get a latte or not. If they hadn't done this training, it wouldn't have changed. And if they hadn't done anything, I probably would have still gone to Starbucks because it was an isolated incident. But if it was something where you were seeing it happen at all the Starbucks, then, yeah, there would be more questions about whether or not I'm going to support Starbucks. But, I mean, I was at the original Starbucks in Seattle having a latte before Starbucks was on every corner in America and around the world.
Well, let's not get lost in the tree here about whether it's a corporate strategy to continue to be able to make more money or not. I think hands down that's what it is. And sometimes corporate strategies to make more money actually have a positive effect.
I disagree. There are people who are going to be very offended that they are closing today for this unconscious bias training. I don't think it is a corporate strategy to make more money, because there are people who don't like this idea. They're on both sides of this.
Anybody who doesn't like this idea, call us 219-845-1100.
You might have some callers right now who feel that way, you know?
I just don't. I think that one thing that you mentioned out of that letter is something that companies do have to acknowledge, that the more diverse and the more accepting you are, the more competitive it makes you. In other words, if you have a culture in your company of racism, okay, and then you're going to have an unconscious bias against, and say it's a mostly white company, and you have an unconscious bias against black people and Hispanic people mostly that walk through the door, then you've cut down your available pool of talent. You have made it more difficult to create bridges to potential clients who may be black or Mexican. You have made your company less competitive. And I don't know why that is not that education is not given more to people. And that makes a lot of sense to me. And I mentioned that earlier, that I remember having an argument with my uncle, and that was one that he finally said, you know what, you're right. It does make the kids less competitive if you allow them to have biases. And that's a great argument. But to get to people's unconscious bias, I think is partly a PR move on Starbucks' point.
But see, what you just said to me, if a person is willing to reach out to someone else who's not like them just because they're worried about a job or because they're worried about improving their company, it's got to be deeper than that. It's got to be something you consciously want to do. Unconscious bias is one thing, but you have to consciously want to make an effort, not just because of the bottom line, but because you know it's the right thing to do.
Well, we're talking about two different things. And the average person that works there or the actual CEO, I watched that crying bit he did on I thought it was disingenuous, and he was crying and about his company and how much it meant to him and how accepting it was. And I'm like, dude, this is coached. I know this. I worked in crisis communications. This is a strategy, and we don't even know when we're being manipulated to some point. But that's a different story. I think Facebook does it all the time too. But there is I don't know. I think you're right about that. We need to make awareness, and we need to bring it to people. I just don't. If you say it's an unconscious bias, by definition, I don't know how to get to the unconscious and unlock people's unconscious.
You just have to make them aware of it. If it's unconscious, that means they're not aware of it, and you have to bring it to their conscious. You have to make people understand it. You have to put it right in front of them and make them see it, not by beating it into them, but by showing them the things that unconsciously are happening.
All right, let's talk biases that are safe to.
Let's take the callers.
Oh, we got callers?
Yes.
Why don't you tell me that?
Well, you always have Jim, this is the thing. You always have callers. Now, you choose to turn your back and ignore them, but I'm looking right at them, and I can't ignore them, but I'm not in control of that board. So those callers and people out there who say, oh, well, Verlie always hangs up on us. I don't control the button. I don't answer the calls, and I don't hang up on anyone. So go ahead and take a caller.
I just spent the weekend. I got my sister, my wife, my
I'm
Aunt
not nagging.
Joni.
I'm just telling reality. Unconsciously, you control everything.
Mike, you married? Mike, you married?
Yes.
How long you been married?
I've been married 10 years.
How's it going?
All right, so far, well, actually, the reason why I'm calling, I hate to change the subject, but Saturday morning, I come home from work, you know what I mean, and I deliver the bundles to the stores. I wake up, my car's gone. I'm like, okay. I'm freaking out, you know what I mean? The car's my baby, and I got a 75 Chevelle Malibu, 4-door. All right, I got about 10 grand in the motor. I come out, my lady's hollering at me, your car's gone. I'm like, what do you mean? I look at my camera, the cops stole my car. The Hammer cops stole my car. The Hammer cops stole my car. And so me and my oldest son, I go down to the police department. I ask him, where's my car? They're like, what do you mean? I said, my car was taken at 11:23 this morning from front of my house in Hammond by a flatbed. They're like, what do you mean? I said, they're like, is it parking legal? I said, nope, it's legal, insured, everything. I said, I got it on video. I said, because in front of my house, and I got cameras. The cop walked up to my car, did not run the plate, did not run the VIN number on it, called the flatbed, and matter of fact, I'll tell you the name of the company that took it. It was Winmar Towing. Sorry about that. I stuttered a little bit when I talked. So I went to the police department, and I talked to the Sergeant Lieutenant Gonzalez, or whatever Rodriguez it was. He told me I would call you back in 45 minutes. And he called me that person. He said, Mr. Harrelson, I'm sorry. Please go get your car. I'm like, why was it towed? He's like, I don't know. And I asked the officer. The officer wouldn't respond back. He wouldn't show his face out the police department. Now, remember, this is Saturday at about 12 o'clock in the morning now. I waited 3.5 hours to get my car back. I had to drive on the other side of town to go get my car back.
Oh,
no, I mean, I told him, I'm not paying for the release. I'm not paying no policy that they drugged my car from the front of my house to put it on the flatbed. Because the cop didn't do his job. The cop did not run the plate on my car. He walked up to it. He seen my car sitting there. Back up to the flatbed. He took off of my car.
So it wasn't illegally parked. There was no reason why your car should have been towed.
No reason why at all. No reason why at all. And this is in the central of Hammond.
Did you have a political sign for somebody who?
No, I don't. No, the lady officer who took care of me, she's like, "What is going on here?" She's like, "The car's legit."
Luckily, you have cameras, and that's the good thing. That most people have cameras. We have everyone has cameras now.
Yes, and I come out from the lady took care of me. The officer's like, "What is going on here?" So she's calling her lieutenant sergeant. You know, I mean, on the dispatch radio. She's like, "What do I do?" She's like, "The car was taken for no reason. There ain't no other nothing against the car. It wasn't parked illegal. It's illegal." He's like, "What is going on?" So she walked back inside the police department. I gave her my cell phone. She's like, "My captain or whatever will call you in about 45 minutes." I waited. You know what I mean? See, about I'll also take my car with me to a barbecue. You know what I mean?
Did they ever tell you why it was stolen?
No. I said, what was the reason you told my car? There was no reason.
Wow.
So was it in front of your? It sounds like they made a towing mistake on. Maybe they were looking for another car that was like yours, or what?
But you bought it mine, and there's two cars like mine. There's mine, the same color, and there's a two-door, just like mine, same wheels, but it's a two-door.
Do you think they were looking for that car, maybe?
I don't know, but the cop didn't run the plate. He didn't run the VIN number. I talked to the lady officer. She's like, he didn't do nothing. He didn't run the plate. He just called for a flatbed and took off of my car. So
today's Tuesday. Things no longer the holiday. You probably should go to the police department and file a complaint.
Oh, I trust me. That's the thing. I'm ready to go there right now. I just dropped my kid off at school. That's where I'm going. I said, these cops got nothing better to do. Go around harassing people instead of busting the people driving here crazy, the drunks, the drug dealers in Hammond. They rather just, you know what I mean, and I work 2 jobs for a living. You know what I mean, I work from 1:30 in the morning to 5 in the morning. I work for the Hammond Times. You know what I mean, and you know what I mean. I'm 7 days a week nonstop. I'm all hours of the night. You know what I mean? And
when you get to the bottom line, have your newspaper write a story about it as well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's getting ridiculous anymore. They're out here harassing people who ain't doing nothing. You know what I mean? They're working, trying to pay their bills, trying to take care of the kids, and you know what I mean? They're not picking people's cars for no reason at all.
All right, well, keep us updated on what happens. Today's a business day. You're going to go down there and talk to them. So let us know what they say, okay?
All right.
Thank you, sir. For calling.
Thanks. Talk to you.
No problem.
Yeah, he didn't want to talk. He was kind of tuned up. He didn't want to talk about his marriage.
But most people, when they're calling you, Jim, they already know what they want to say. So when you ask them a question, you kind of throw people off. Actually, when people call you, they have something on their mind to say already. So you got to let them say that before you start asking questions.
Let's go to Bill on line 3. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Good. First, our Hammond police officers are not cops. They are not dirty, rotten coppers. They are police officers with a very difficult job.
What, do you object to the term cop?
Totally.
Why?
It's derisive. But there's more important things than that. You know, this Starbucks issue is important, but I think there should, to be fair, there should be more focus on the black-on-black killing and murder rate in Chicago, especially on the South Side, than Starbucks. I think that would better serve the Hammond and local community.
So what would Starbucks do in terms of the black-on-black crime on the South Side of Chicago that you're talking about?
I've never been in a Starbucks. I'm not familiar with corporate, so I don't know what they'd do. I can't speculate on that.
But there was an issue in Philadelphia when two black guys walked in and they basically got arrested for being black and sitting there, not buying something.
Yeah, well, nobody's dead, Jed.
Okay, I get
like
that.
on the South Side of Chicago, there you don't understand. There is no solution for death. We haven't found that yet.
Okay, all right. Hey, thanks for your call.
I want to say one thing before this guy hangs up.
He already hung up.
Oh, well, I'll say it while he's still listening. One morning, he called here, and we were talking about Ethel Shelton, and he told me to shut up. Now, the thing about it, there was a class of kids from St. Mary's sitting right here looking at me. One little girl, this beautiful little girl with red hair and braces, had her hand over her mouth in shock. And I had to catch myself from responding. When I get home, I hear from everybody, "You let that guy tell you to shut up." I said, if you knew the situation. And so all those little kids looking at me with their mouths wide open, you would have understood why I did not respond. Not because he told me to shut up and I complied, but because I did not want to say what was on the tip of my tongue to respond to this guy. Because I can tell you, there's no way he's calling this radio station and telling you to shut up. And I know he's not going to tell a judge in a courtroom, because I believe he's an attorney, to shut up. So I'm telling him right now, don't ever call here when I'm on the air and ever again tell me to shut up. I'm done. I was waiting for him to call so I could say that.
I am so sorry, because I just let him go with my little finger here, and I would have loved to heard the reaction to that. So if you want to call back, Bill, call back, Bill. I would love to
It's
hear.
like even my mother said, Verlie, that man told you to shut up, and you didn't say anything back. I'm like, Ma, this beautiful little girl with red hair and braces had her hand over her mouth in shock. There was no way I could say what I wanted to say with a classroom full of children looking at me, you know, sitting here with a mic in front of my face. So I just had to refrain.
So just in case anybody ever had any doubt, Verlie does have the ability to refrain. It may be the first time I saw it put into use.
Oh, it took a lot.
It took a lot of gumption to be able to get that done. You want me to answer some more phone calls?
Yeah,
219-845-1100. And Joe, how you been, man?
I've been great. How you guys doing? Morning, Verlie.
Hi,
morning.
Joe.
Verlie, I just wanted to say thank you for your advocacy for callers. And it's very nice to see somebody in our corner there on the board or near the board helping JED really place the callers up front. You know, thank you very much.
You're
And
welcome.
With this new restraint or with this new information coming to light about your restraint, I mean, it's not Tuesday, it's Verlie Day.
Watch yourself, Joe. You were doing okay. You were doing okay until that point.
I was just inspired. So, you know, today with the closing of Starbucks, I think that should serve very important issues. I don't want to make light. You know, I mean, I'm always trying to be funny, and most of the time it doesn't work. But one of the key things here is that Starbucks coffee sucks. And that is because they get subpar coffee and they roast it in one place. I think that's still the case. Maybe you got to double check that. But they take this horrible coffee, they take it to like Switzerland or Sweden, they over roast it. It's like charred. And then they put it back in a cup and they tell yuppies that this is what coffee is supposed to taste like, and people buy it for a lot of money.
But you know something, Joe? I kind of agree with you. That's why I usually drink like a latte or vanilla latte to kind of mask the actual taste of the coffee, or I use tons of cream.
Absolutely. And then so that what they've trained us to believe is that that's the way coffee should be consumed, because it tastes terrible and you got to put all that other stuff in it. And we don't even have time to go into like the health issues that's caused. But I think today, while we're thinking about diversity, which is certainly something that everybody should do. We should also just pick up your phone and find out where there's a local coffee shop where somebody got some coffee and either roasted it with care or sourced coffee that was roasted with care, and then they're bringing that into your neighborhood, and go support them.
There's a great one in Highland.
Yeah, way to go. That's a great
That's
idea,
a great
Joe.
idea,
We
Joe.
should have had
There
that
you go.
organized ahead of time. That's
Go
pretty
have
good.
a good coffee.
All right, man. Good thinking. Way to use your brain. Talk
Thanks
to you.
for having. I don't know about any of that.
All right, talk to you. 8 a.m. it is. Verlie Coffee Cabin at the corner of 30 and 41. Maybe I'll go there today just to celebrate what they're talking about.
I mean, that's a nice place, but they don't have a place to sit inside
Sit
and read
outside.
the paper.
Yeah.
I like the coffee shop in Highland as
The
well.
one, what's that called again? Darn it.
On
I've
Jewett?
been there many times.
Yeah, I like to go in there. You can just chill. I love the little, the decor, and it's just very relaxing.
Somebody text me the name of that Jewett Street coffee shop
I
before
can't
we
think
get
of the
out
name
here.
right
All right,
now.
so here's the deal. It's the fifth day of the month, and so what we do with our community programming initiative shows, people go the second and fourth, or they go the first and third. So when we get to the fifth day of the month, we don't often have shows, and it gives us a chance for some of the younger guys to get in and get some mic time. So Jimmy Mulaney and Will Hatzel, under the direction of Ryan Walsh, are going to take up the next hour, and they're going to continue on, and I would appreciate it if you showed them the same lack of respect that you show me, and if you want to call in and talk to them. Ryan's like, well, why don't you and Verlie go a little longer? I'm like, no, this is what we do. We get off at 8, and I want to keep it that way. So, Verlie, I want to thank you.
Well, you know what? I just want to remind listeners, if you haven't already been watching this show, this investigation show, they're talking about the Kelly Cochran murders. And if you're familiar with that, she killed her boyfriend out in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, cut him up, served him as barbecue to her neighbors. She and her husband had made a pact. If either of them had an affair, they were going to kill the person they had the affair with. And so they don't even know there might be other people who were actually killed as a result. But then she killed her husband. And the reason why
according to alleged information.
No, not according to alleged information. She was found guilty.
Was she?
She was
I
actually
did not know that.
sentenced on both cases. She was sentenced to life in Michigan. She got 60 years in Indiana. But
I'm sorry. Here it is right on the front page of the
Okay,
Post.
Jim.
Yeah.
But the thing about it,
Sentence.
also,
You're right.
she lived very locally. If you're familiar with Mississippi Street in Maryville, turns into Holbert, right where the electrical union building is, the Carpenters Union. She lived right there on Mississippi Street in the 7100 block of Mississippi.
For how long?
So, for some time. I mean, she was in Michigan when she killed the boyfriend, but she was in Indiana when she killed the husband.
It says here in May 2017, she was sentenced to life in prison without parole after the jury in Michigan found her of the murder of Chris Regan, her boyfriend and a co-worker. Cochran claimed that Jason Cochran shot Regan, and she assisted in dismembering Regan and leaving his body in the woods in northern Michigan. And so that was a story. I'm sorry, I was thinking of the latest murder. She's charged with another one now, right?
Well, she was just the two that she has gone to trial for, the one in Michigan where she got life, and the one here in Indiana, her husband, Jason. But the thing about it, she may be a serial killer, just like Van. They're talking, and there may be other bodies. Those are the ones that are alleged. Those are the maybes. But I'm just letting your listeners know that it's on TV. They're actually documenting the story. It came on last night. It's entitled Dark Dead Night, and it's investigative. It's an investigation show. It's really good. So you can tune in. I'm sure they'll repeat it. But part 2 is tonight at 8 o'clock.
Oh, tonight at 8.
Right.
On what channel?
It's you know what? Because everyone has different channels for their Xfinity or whatever they have. They just have to look on demand for the program, and it's investigation.
Investigation. All right, there it is. Hey, hold on a second. Join us in honoring Jamie and Leroy Marsh Friday evening, June 15th. Don't forget, you can get tickets at Largus's on 45th or at Munster High School's main office. It'll go about 6 to 10. Short little program. It'll be at the Center for Visual and Performing Arts on Ridge Road. That ought to do it. Thanks, Verlie.
Thanks, Jim.
Ryan Walsh and the gang. We're going to be doing this over the summer. We are going to be looking for plenty of time to be getting some of the younger folks and some of the students, and it doesn't always have to be younger, but some of the newer talent, emerging talent, I like to call it. And there's quite a bit of it that is coming our way over the summer, and you're going to hear some of it for the next hour. I'm out. They're in. See you. Thank you.
St. Catherine Hospital.